The Zodiac Killer, a hunter in the night, Northern California, the late 1960s, a place where the American dream felt tangible and freedom hung along the winding roads and fog-laced hills. But under that calm surface, a shadow moved, a figure whose name would become synonymous with terror, a cipher-wielding phantom who called himself the Zodiac. The first confirmed attack came on December the 20th, 1968. Teen sweethearts Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday parked along Lake Herman Road, a quiet lover's lane outside Vallejo. They never made it home. Bullets shattered the stillness of the night. David was shot in the head at close range. Betty Lou gunned down as she fled. No witnesses, no suspects. Only death and the echo of a killer's intent. 7 months later, July the 4th, 1969, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Majow sat in a parked car at Blue Rock Springs Park, just a few miles from the first crime scene. Headlights appeared behind them. A man approached, shining a flashlight into their eyes, then unleashed a barrage of gunfire. Darlene died. Michael survived, badly wounded. But the killer didn't just vanish into the night. Less than an hour later, the phone rang at Vallejo Police Department. A calm male voice confessed, "I want to report a double murder. I also killed those kids last year." It was the beginning of a macabre game. The letters started arriving, cryptic, taunting, laced with demands. In August 1969, 3 major newspapers received nearly identical handwritten notes from someone claiming to be responsible for the murders. Enclosed were ciphers, strings of symbols that promised to reveal his identity. One letter warned, "If you do not print this cipher by the afternoon of Friday, 1st of August, 69th, I will go on a kill rampage." The press published the letters. The public was horrified. Amateur codebreakers took their shot, and within days, a couple from Salinas cracked the first cipher. Its message chilled the bones of even the hardiest detectives. "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all but the bee." Killer's name? Absent. He signed off with a symbol, crosshairs resembling a rifle scope, and a new identity, Zodiac. He kept hunting. September 27, 1969, Lake Berryessa. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were enjoying a peaceful afternoon on the shore when a hooded figure emerged, wearing a black executioner's mask stitched with his signature symbol. He bound them, stabbed them repeatedly. Cecilia died 2 days later. Brian survived. 2 weeks after that, Paul Stein, a San Francisco cab driver, was shot in the head at point-blank range. This time, Zodiac crossed city lines, killing in the bustling streets of San Francisco's Presidio Heights neighborhood. A piece of Stein's bloody shirt arrived at the Chronicle newsroom days later, a grim trophy proving the killer's hand. The Zodiac continued to send taunting letters, postcards, ciphers, and even diagrams for homemade bombs. His body count, he claimed, reached as high as 37. Authorities confirmed only 7 attacks, 5 of them fatal. But the fear he inspired spread far beyond the tally. Despite thousands of leads, dozens of suspects, and the efforts of police departments, cryptographers, and even the FBI, the Zodiac eluded capture. His final confirmed letter arrived in 1974. A chilling farewell from the ghost in the dark. The mystery endures. For decades, armchair sleuths and seasoned investigators have tried to unmask the Zodiac. Suspects have been named: Arthur Lee Allen, Richard Gaikowski, Gary Francis Post. Yet none have been definitively linked to the crimes. The case remains unsolved, a dark legend whispering from the past. The Zodiac Killer vanished, but his ciphers, his symbol, and his chilling words still haunt California's quiet roads and cold police files. The killer's words weren't just taunts. They were calculated, manipulative, designed to provoke panic. "I am waiting for a good movie about me," he wrote once, a line that dripped with arrogance. His letters weren't messy. They were meticulously penned, neat rows of block letters, like a school assignment turned malevolent. He wasn't just killing for the thrill, he wanted the world to watch, to shudder, to fear him. Parents in the Bay Area stopped letting their children walk to school. Couples thought twice before parking beneath moonlit skies. Police combed every wooded trail and back road, desperate to find anything: a footprint, a shell casing, a thread of that dark executioner's hood. But Zodiac didn't leave enough behind. He was careful, as if he knew the system, knew how to stay 2 steps ahead. One of his most chilling threats didn't involve guns or knives. It involved a school bus. "I shall cruise around and pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out," he wrote. He described how he would shoot out the tires and pick off the children as they come tumbling out. The letter triggered a city-wide terror. Police escorted school buses, rifles at the ready. Parents clutched their children tighter. But no school bus was ever attacked. Zodiac thrived on the terror itself. Even the surviving victims couldn't describe him clearly. Michael Majau said he was young, heavyset, with brown hair. Brian Hartnell described the masked figure at Lake Berryessa, but his face was never seen. The only composite sketch came from Paul Stein's murder, where witnesses saw a man calmly wiping down the cab before walking away middle-aged. Glasses, crew cut. Ordinary, unremarkable. A phantom hiding in plain sight. But Zodiac wasn't finished. In November 1969, he sent what might be his most infamous cipher, the 340-character puzzle known as the Z340. For decades, it remained unsolved. Thousands of cryptographers, both amateur and professional, threw themselves at it. The code seemed to mock the idea of a solution, a riddle wrapped in madness. It wasn't until December 2020 that a group of codebreakers finally cracked the Z340. Its message? More gloating. "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me," it read. "I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner." No name, no lead, just the echo of a killer laughing from the grave. As the years stretched on, Zodiac's letters slowed, but the dread never did. The thought that he was out there somewhere never stopped gnawing at the edges of California's collective consciousness. Retired detectives kept boxes of files marked Zodiac. Every few years, new suspects emerged, theories spun tighter, but the shadow remained unbroken. Some say he might have been a cop or someone close to law enforcement. His ability to vanish, his knowledge of how investigations worked. Others believed he was military trained, given the cryptography and precision. Or perhaps, more terrifying, he was just an ordinary man. A postal worker, a teacher, someone you'd pass on the street and never suspect. The Zodiac Killer case became folklore, his symbol etched onto the American psyche. He wasn't just a murderer, he was a ghost story told around campfires, a presence that never faded, a reminder that some monsters wear human skin and some evils never get caught. And maybe, just maybe, the Zodiac still watches from the shadows, smiling as the world continues to search for his face. One of the most disturbing aspects of the Zodiac's reign was the sense that he was always watching. His letters often referenced media coverage, sometimes correcting police reports or calling out inaccuracies. He knew what was being said about him. He read the headlines. In one letter, he scolded the Vallejo police chief directly, as though to remind them, "I'm still here." The killer wasn't content with the violence. He wanted to shape the narrative, to control the fear. As investigators dug deeper, they realized how calculated he was. The Zodiac timed his letters to arrive just when the fear began to settle. He wanted to keep the Bay Area in a state of unease, to make sure his name was never forgotten. He'd let weeks or months pass, then strike again, not always with blood, but always with words. A fresh letter, a fresh threat. His control over the public was almost hypnotic. There were moments when it felt like the Zodiac was inches from being caught. After Paul Stine's murder, police swarmed the neighborhood within minutes. Witnesses even pointed officers toward the suspect, who had calmly walked away from the crime scene. But in a devastating mistake, the police had been given the wrong description. A black male. The Zodiac, a white man, slipped past the barricades, likely passing officers as they searched for him. The city later learned that their killer had been right under their noses. Perhaps the most haunting twist in the Zodiac saga came in one of his letters, where he claimed to have killed a woman named Donna Lass, a nurse who vanished from South Lake Tahoe in 1970. No body was ever found. No evidence. But Zodiac sent a postcard with cryptic markings and a message. Peek through the pines. It was enough to make investigators wonder how many victims weren't in the official count. How many more graves were hidden, waiting to be discovered. The fear wasn't just local. National media picked up the story. Zodiac's cryptic letters, his symbol, his ciphers, they spread like wildfire. Other serial killers envied the attention. Some even copied his style. But the original remained unmatched, unnamed. His power wasn't just in the killings, it was in the legend he was crafting in real time. Even decades later, Zodiac's fingerprints were nowhere to be found. His DNA? Insufficient. The bloody scrap of Paul Stine's shirt remains. But forensic technology hasn't been able to crack the code. Every attempt to lift usable genetic material has ended in frustration. He remains an untraceable ghost, as if he'd planned for science to fail him long after his crimes ended. One theory that chills to the bone is that the Zodiac didn't stop killing, he just stopped writing. Without his confessions and symbols, he might have blended into the sea of unsolved murders across California and beyond. Investigators have combed through other cases, missing persons, random killings, wondering which ones might bear his invisible mark. How many unknown victims lie unclaimed by his tally? There was something ritualistic in the way he wrote. His use of ciphers suggested more than just play, it suggested obsession. The 13-character cipher sent in 1970 hinted at his name but never yielded a solution. Some believe the ciphers held keys to his psychology. Others that they were just another layer of misdirection, meant to confuse and taunt. Either way, they remain a chilling testament to a mind that killed for power, not just for blood. As the years turned into decades, suspects came and went. Arthur Lee Allen, the man many believed to be the Zodiac, died in 1992. DNA taken from a stamp on one of the Zodiac's letters ruled him out. Other names surfaced, like Richard Gaykowski and Gary Post, but no one was ever arrested. Each suspect had compelling evidence and devastating gaps. The Zodiac wore masks, both literal and metaphorical. And so the Zodiac Killer remains in many ways immortal. His words still haunt police archives. His ciphers still draw new sleuths into the web. His victims' families still wait for answers. And somewhere, perhaps in a grave or behind closed doors, lies the man who watched a city fall apart under the weight of his shadow. The true horror? He got away with it.